Hi, I'm Cleo. I'm a psychic, a medium, and a seer. And my channel is dedicated to spirit guides. And my main spirit guide is Jesus. And this is little Jesus. He's the one filling in for the real guy. And actually, Jesus picked this doll out. He picked it out from Amazon. He liked to shop Amazon. And as you can tell, he's got a good sense of humor. Because he just wants you to know that this is where my information is coming from. And it's a constant reminder. Plus, it's kind of fun to have somebody here with me. So he wants me to tell you, he wants me to talk to you about spirit guides and how to connect and how these things work. All right, but it's how it's worked for me. And by the way, everything I'm talking about is for entertainment purposes only, and it is just how I perceive it. Uh, there's many variables to this, many variables. And so this is just my way of doing things, and that's what I'm telling you about. So it might not fit in with you. That's fine. Um, but I hope that something helps. I hope what I'm saying helps somebody, because I had a real difficult time in the beginning of trying to make not just well, I didn't have that tough a time making the connection because I didn't know what I was doing. I was not sure what spirit guides were, and the connection with them was a surprise to me. So um, when we were first going through this, I was having a hard time understanding what was being said to me. And since I was in a state of illness, I was trying to recover from illness. And this is what I was connecting with my spirit guides about. Had nothing to do with being psychic or anything like that. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I was in a situation where I really needed help to get well. And so, anyway, so it was really important for me to understand what was being said to me. So we spent a long time on this of trying to make me to get me to hear understand what I was being told. Now, a lot of times they were really surprised how well I could pick up on what they were saying, but then they also noticed other times I would take one little thing and go off on maybe in the wrong direction, um, because I thought that's where I was supposed to be going. So they would, well, especially Jesus. Like I said, there's other spirit guides that I'm dealing with, but mainly with Jesus. And if you don't necessarily have to know who your spirit guides are. It just came up with me because I didn't understand what I was getting into, and it worked out really well to know that this was Jesus. Originally, it was not Jesus. It was an uncle that had passed away a few years before I was born, and something about that whole connection made sense to me. And the spirit guide didn't really care who I thought it was, just so that we could make the connection, and we did. And then we put the dead uncle to the side and moved on to Jesus, who has been uh, instrumental in getting to understand what spirit guides were talking to me about. And I will say that originally, the way they spoke to me was sort of not old English, but it sounded kind of weird. And so I just told them right from the start, you have to talk to me the way I'm talking. That's the only way I'm going to be able to hear you and understand what's going on. And as soon as I said that, they started talking like me. Not some old English, not something that you would, these and thous and stuff like you might hear in the Bible or something. Because it wasn't like that. This is not really religious. This is really very spiritual. So Um, in order to connect, and like I said, you don't need to know who these spirits are. The spirits supposedly come to you when you're born. You're born with spirit guides, and they're following you around, and you are connecting with your spirit guides many times without even knowing it. For example, um, this would be a time when you wouldn't know that it was spirit guides, but it probably was. Let's say you're heading home from work, you're taking the same route that you take every day getting home from work. But for some reason, all of a sudden you turn off and you go a different way. You know, there's several ways to get home, but you've always routinely done the same route every day. So you take a different route. It takes a little bit longer, and you don't really question why you did that. It was just like, oh, well, whatever. It's going to take me a little more time. Not a big deal. I'll be there 5 minutes later than usual. Um, and then you walk into the house and you find out that the whole family is just going crazy because they thought that you were probably involved in a really bad accident that was on your regular route. It's just one of those crazy kind of things. Like, what made you that day all of a sudden decide to take a different route? Well, my thinking that's spirit guides at work, because they're always working with you. They're always there with you. Whether you like I said, whether you know it or not, you don't have to have the same kind of connection, um, that you're talking to them all the time. My connection came that way, and I imagine most psychics, because that's the only way to be psychic, is connecting with your spirit guides. So that's just one little example that I can think of that might explain when something comes up that you thought, wow, I never would have guessed that that one little moment where I decided to take a right instead of a left could have made all the difference in the world. So, so getting back to what you can expect to hear. Um, well, when I first came into this and was hearing things, for like I said, at first I thought I was talking to my uncle, and then after a while, that really wasn't working out that well, but it was the beginning. That was the beginning of the connection. It was something I could accept. I knew who he was, but I didn't know him personally because he passed before I was born. But something about that whole thing made sense to me. So then that's when I was being very serious about, how am I going to get well? What do I need to do? And that's when Jesus and the other spirit guides were really focusing on the fact that, yes, I was finally making this connection. And which, by the way, prior to that, what I was doing was I was in the worst situation I'd ever been in my life. I mean, I'd lost my home. I was too sick to work, and I was really panicked about what I was going to do. So I just started walking around talking to myself. Um, and complaining about where I was at, that it wasn't right, it wasn't fair. Why is this happening? I can't deal with this, blah, blah, blah. Really a pitiful pearl is what what I was being. So, uh, step by step, when I started making the connection with spirit guides, and then particularly with Jesus, we kind of went through this process of learning how to hear what I'm being told. And like I said, it's so easy to hear something and then, for me anyway, to take off in a different direction, because what I'm doing is I'm reading for myself. And I'll tell you, reading for yourself is much, much more difficult than reading for another person, because with the other person, you don't have the same emotions involved. I mean, I have certain expectations, and it's hard to let go of those expectations to freely hear what is being said to me, because I want it to all be in my favor. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's steps you have to take that you didn't think you'd have to do. Um, and hear things that you don't really want to hear, but in the end, it all works out for the best. So at one point, I remember we were talking about something, and I said, "Yeah, when pigs fly." And Jesus says, "You know what? There was a time when pigs did fly." And I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Pigs could fly?" I said, "Nah." And I started thinking about it, and I said, "Well, wait a minute," because it just started to occur to me that pigs flying, pigs also poop. So if they're flying and they poop on you, oh my goodness, that could be horrible. So I'm telling Jesus this, and he's cracking up, and he goes, "No, no, no, pigs could never fly." Oh, I said, "Well, then why in the world would you tell me that?" He goes, "I just wanted to see if you heard me." Well, I said, "I heard you, and it really painted an odd picture in my mind of watching pigs fly." And he goes, "No, no, pigs never flew. They, he said, in mythology they might have, but in real life, no, pigs don't fly. And you can see why it'd be really tough to get a pig off the ground." So anyway, so we laughed about it, and we still laugh about it. Because it was one of the funnier things that came up, because I was just so sincere about, wow, pigs flew. No, they didn't. And so the other thing that comes across with that is laughing. Laughing and smiling actually changes your brain chemistry. So as soon as we both are laughing about something, and you become more open, you're more relaxed, and it's fun. It's fun, right? Laughing's fun. So that's another thing you might want to do when you're trying, because I was trying so hard and I was so serious about everything that we had to do something to take the drama out of it, and trying to hear what is being told. Now, that one little example about pigs flying, that's just there's been thousands of things that have come up, because I did have a tendency to um, because I was reading for myself and trying to figure out for myself what to do. It was so easy to, oh, get sidetracked and take off in the wrong direction. I mean, I might take off on the wrong direction for a day or two. And so what Jesus would do is just kind of weave this little, we would take one situation that really had nothing to do with what I was trying to find out, and then just it kind of felt like we were going in circles until we finally get to the final thing, or whatever that might be. And I would be like, "Well, why didn't you just tell me that in the first place?" And he said, "I did." "I did, but you just didn't hear that." But on the other hand, I was constantly being encouraged about what I could hear, and everything that would be said to me, I would repeat back. Well, maybe not every single thing, but most things I would repeat back so that I could find out, so they could find out. They can't read, they can't pick up on all my thoughts. They need to know what I thought I heard. And so this worked out really well when it came down to doing readings, because yeah, you're talking out loud, but when you're by yourself and you're trying to figure stuff out, it's a little bit different. And you, you have to be a little bit careful about, um, the people around you might start getting a little bit concerned about that you're talking to yourself all the time and laughing and carrying on a conversation with somebody. And it might come off as a little bit strange. So the other thing is, as they told me to talk to go to a mirror. And so I'd go to the bathroom mirror, and they said, talk to the mirror, talk into the mirror so that we can see you. I'm like, what? So I did that, and that was a huge benefit for me. I don't know how it works for other people or if they've even done that, but when you go to a mirror, um, your eyes are the window to your soul, and everything that's coming through as spirit guides is coming through to you through your soul. So when I am talking into a mirror, besides looking like a complete crazy nutcase, um, I am also making the closest connection with my spirit guides, because they can actually see me. They can see my reflection in the mirror because they're looking through my soul. I know it sounds crazy, but that is the way it works. And I thought that that was something that I just came up with, but I found out recently that I think there's even been some books written about it or something, but I didn't know that. I just thought, I just hope to God nobody walks in and finds me laughing and carrying on in front of a mirror and having this conversation with my spirit guides and trying to explain that to a person that has never maybe heard of it or already thought that I was a little bit off my rocker. And so uh, that we didn't go there. I never got caught. Okay, I was really good at concealing it, but I tell you, it really did help so much to have that kind of a connection, and it was so important to me to hear what I needed to hear. And a lot of times the kind of things I would hear, since I'm just doing it for myself, was so supportive, so loving, absolutely unconditional love from spirit guides, because they are just here to help you. And um and spirit guides have been around for forever. I mean, this is something that is totally, that God built into our soul. He gave us a soul. And this is one way to use your soul. There's many other ways to use your soul, but this is the main thing with your soul and your spirit guides and how helpful it is. And so hold on one moment, please. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay. I had to I had to step away for a moment. Um, Another big thing, when you're trying to make this connection and you're trying to meditate and maybe you're having trouble with it, what I did was, you can actually, I do best because I'm a little ADD, and because I'm also a little, I mean, I've got those little kind of goofy problems like that. I do best when I have some outside white noise, like a vacuum or the shower. I know that a lot of people, they want to be in complete quiet, and they're I don't know, going into themselves or clearing their core, or I just don't do fancy stuff like that. I will put a question out, and I'll say, Jesus, this is what I want to find out about today, and then I'll go vacuum the house. And when I'm vacuuming, I'm doing the same thing I'm doing when I'm doing music. I'm totally focused on, I mean, it's such an easy thing to do, to just vacuum. And yeah, it's got that noise going all the time. And I'm not saying that what I'm talking about is for everybody. I'm just saying that if you're having some trouble making that connection, and if you have the same kind of problems I have, that you can't sit still and that your mind's just wandering all over the place, this is how I do it. And okay, so one is vacuuming. You got that constant noise of the vacuum. And then I just put whatever I had said, I just put that clearly out of my mind. I don't even think about that. All I think about is, the process of vacuuming. And since I vacuum all the time, I know exactly where I'm going with this. I know I got to move furniture around and stuff. So I'm not, I don't have to think about vacuuming because I know how to do that. So now my mind is cleared. Um, and I put the question out there. I forgot about it. I'm running the vacuum, and then bingo, there it is. Whatever I was thinking about, whatever I asked about, I mean, then it starts to come to me. Um, Another thing I like to do is when I'm in the shower, I have more good stuff come to me in the shower than anything else. Because, the shower, you've been taking a shower all your life. And the running water, and you just automatically do what you have to do when you're in the shower to get cleaned up. But that's the same kind of thing. I just put something out there. I put the questions out there. And that's the other thing about spirit guides is you need to uh, talk out loud, verbally express what is on your mind, even if it's not a question. Um, even if it's you could talk about something that's going on with you that's really good, or something that you're concerned about, or how are you going to make the rent, or pay the bills, and you put that out there, and the spirit guides will put you on the path to the answer to that question. So that's just I don't know, couple of different ways that I do things that I'm sure is probably not something you're going to pick up a book that says, why don't you just go vacuum or hop in the shower? But I need that little white noise, because when it gets too quiet for me, that's when I'm like, oh boy, let's see. I get real quiet, and then all of a sudden stuff comes into my mind that I really am not, it's not beneficial. Like, oh my, I think I forgot to turn the dishwasher on. So then I have to stop everything, run out and check. Oh no, no, I did. I got the dishwasher going. And then I sit back down. Oh boy, it's kind of cool. I wish I would have turned on the heat. So then I get up and do that. So I never really get to the point of that Zen place, that in the zone place. So I usually do it by doing some other activity. Um, like I said, that's my thing. I'm not saying that's the way to do anything. I'm just saying that's what I do. That's works for me. And maybe if you're having trouble, you might try the same thing. So as I was going through all this connections with Jesus and stuff, and all these, it felt very dramatic. And in the beginning, I really wasn't believing it. I really thought that these things that were coming to me were just my own thoughts. Well, that's the other thing. A lot of times, spirit guides do talk to you in what will feel like thoughts. And it just took a long time for me to see, wait a minute, I wouldn't even think that. I wouldn't even say that. So if you have that kind of feedback, where you're thinking, was that me or was that something else? Consider the content of the conversation, which, by the way, I know that everybody talks about channeling, that we're channeling our spirit guides. I didn't even know what channeling was. And I've always thought of it, especially with my connection with Jesus, because here he is it's a conversation. I'm having a conversation with my spirit guides. I'm not but the channeling thing got me confused. I thought, well, what in the world? Because I can talk to them any time of the day. I can communicate with them any time of the day. I don't really do anything special anymore. But I tell you, for a long time I did. I tried to do the meditation. I tried to do all these different things, and um, for me it was kind of frustrating, and it just didn't work. I know that for most people, it's not like that. but I'm just, Jesus is telling me to tell you what I did because maybe you're trying to make that connection and it just hasn't been happening. And you've got something formed in your mind, or maybe you read it or you took a class on here or something with about meditation and it's still not working. So here's another little thing that definitely opened the doors for me, and that was gratitude. Because since I thought it was my own thoughts in the beginning, um, and I was kind of cranky about the whole thing, and I expected instant results, and I didn't expect spirit guides because I didn't know what those were, but I just expected myself to know what to do and to get it figured out right away because I needed I needed instant results. So it finally occurred to me one day as I was wallowing in my own self pity, um, because I got really good at that. Nobody had to feel sorry for me because I felt so sorry for myself. So one day, this thought comes to me. Now, again, I don't know if this is my thought or spirit guides, but I thought about gratitude, and instead of thinking of how depressing my situation was or um, how it wasn't fair, it wasn't right. How could this possibly happen to me? This is different than anything in my life. Why should I be going through this? And I was angry. So when I turned it around, it was with gratitude. I started thanking God and thanking Jesus and everybody else for every miserable thing that was happening to me. And at first, it felt so weird and uncomfortable because I wasn't really I wasn't believing it. I was just saying the words, but over a period of time, that changed everything. To thank God for everything that was happening to me, be good and bad. You know, occasionally some good things did manage to happen, but to be grateful for what you're going through um, is just it's I don't know. It just felt so strange at first, but then just suddenly I just kept it up, kept it up, kept it up. I'm thanking God every minute of every day. And as soon as something would happen to me that I thought, oh God, I'm sick again, or I've got to, I don't know what to do, I'm not feeling well. I just thought, no, be thankful. Be thankful that you're still here. Be thankful that you're going to recover. You're going to make it. Regardless of what's happening today, it's going to get better, which I didn't really believe that, but that's what happened. And it was through gratitude that everything started to change. Everything started to open up. So if you're, and this could apply to anything. I mean, no matter what you're doing, be thankful for it. Because what I learned from that is that I signed up for this. And I'll tell you, that made me so mad. I said, "What?" I said, "How old was I when I did this?" And they said, "Well, the age didn't matter, but they told me that I signed up to go through this." And I'm like, "Are you sure you got the right person? Let's recheck this. What's my address?" You know, you sure you got the right Cleo here? Um, because I can't imagine why I would put myself through this hell. And they said, just stick with it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you will find out. And it took a long time. It took years, and they were absolutely right. I did find things out, and I was just to this day. I just never thought that what a big deal that would be, because it started with the words, and then little by little, I started believing that. I started noticing that when you feel gratitude, when you are truly thankful just to be alive, um, it totally empowers you. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today. Um, and I will keep going over these subjects as time goes by. And actually, there was some other stuff that I wanted to talk about that I will talk about next time. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys for watching this. I'm trying to keep it kind of short because there is so many people out there making videos, and I don't know where you guys get time to watch them, but you've been watching mine. I appreciate it so much. Please like and subscribe to my channel, because that's what keeps me on here. I really need some subscriptions right now. And if I don't see you in my own videos, I am also on a lot of shows on YouTube, like the Mystic Four. We do that twice a month, and that's just general readings. Then also Caffeinated and Unfiltered, which is um, kind of in your face readings. And we have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, that's the kind of show you want to come to, with a sense of humor and an open mind, and not to take things too personally, but they are real readings. Then I'm also doing polyterology, um, and that's with the my sister, the Cool Crone. And we do that, I think, about twice a month, and that is all politics. And of course, the politics are strange and goofy, and so it does take it takes a whole village of psychics to try to figure out what's going on there. So I also do a show called Table Kitchen Table Issues, and that's with Marina and my sister, and we talk about politics there. And the Golden Girls, again, um, that's with the Golden Girls, and we also talk about politics. And there might be some other ones that I'm not remembering, but anyway, I have a whole bunch of other shows that I'm doing besides this, so I hope you will tune in for those as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching this, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.